You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast, the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me on socials at SamLittle44 and the podcast at Maple Footy Pod. And now there's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome to the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Maple Footy Podcast. And, you know what we're here to talk about today. Gold Cup has officially kicked off, and Canada's, charge towards the final, hopefully, a handed trophy, is underway after their match against Honduras last night as of recording at least. And, I will dissect the game very, very soon once we get through all the Maple Start stuff that wouldn't fit with this episode, and some other things. And yeah, 6-0. I did not expect that, but let's save that, table it, bring it back very soon. So quickly, just because I haven't been really talking about anything outside of Canadian footy since the Premier League season ended, I wanted to quickly do just some transfer things that I've noticed that have piqued my interest. Chelsea are in for João Pedro from Brighton. I'm not a fan of the signing, and nothing against the player. He is a good player, but Chelsea have way too many and have signed way too many quote-unquote like positionless players that I just can't see him working at Chelsea. He does well at Brighton, and he could maybe do a job at another club. Just with Chelsea, stay away, maybe. And once again, nothing against a player. And if Chelsea do sign him, I'll back him. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this. Kevin De Bruyne, though, has, as we all know, has left Manchester City and has signed with Napoli. And I think that is a nice little deal. I don't have much to say on it. I just think it's nice to see a player who's, I think he's, 33 now? An older-ish player, instead of going to, the typical places that a soon-to-be retiree go to. He goes to Napoli in the Serie A, and I think that's a massive get for the Serie A, and I think that's a massive get for Napoli. Another person who could be on their way to Napoli, Jadon Sancho. Of course, Chelsea wanted to bring him back in on a permanent, but they couldn't figure out wages that would that they could agree on, I guess. And evidently, he goes back to United, and United don't want him. So Napoli has apparently entered the race. We'll see how that goes. I think he'd do extremely well in the Italian league, but I think it'll all come down to money, as it just did with Chelsea. Florian Wirtz has gotten the "Here We Go" from Fabrizio Romano, yet to be officially announced by Liverpool, and the "Here We Go" was gotten last week. That's not me saying, oh, it's dead in the water, but usually it doesn't take that long for them to announce, but I guess they're waiting. Who knows? Maybe he's learning Scouse so that he can pull up to the press conference speaking Scouse, which is just English with an accent. And that is a joke and a jab at certain other people who just left their club and then started speaking fluently in a different language at their press conference. Yes, I'm talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I will say this signing rubs me the wrong way. I get major David Beckham to Real Madrid vibes. I feel like he is putting his brand above himself, all from changing his number. Apparently, I don't know if this is true, but there might be a rule that you can only go to a certain number in La Liga. I honestly don't know. Do not quote me on that. But that's not really my problem, going from 66 to 12, whatever. He's renamed himself Trent on the back of his jersey, which is strange. And before you start saying, well, Virgil van Dijk, he does it with his first name. Trent's been Alexander-Arnold on the back of his shirt for years, literally since he started. And Virgil van Dijk does Virgil because his dad left him at a young age, so he does not want to be having that name on the back of his shirt. So very different. I don't know. I just get very major David Beckham vibes to a T, leaving their boyhood club after they had great success with them. They were a one-of-a-kind kind of player. Not a great all-around player, but phenomenal with one thing. a one-trick pony, if you will, but by God, phenomenal at that one trick. And now he goes to Real Madrid, changes number like Beckham did. Starting to, feels like brand himself, Englishman, of course. There's that as well. A bit of a controversial figure. You either love him or hate him kind of thing. And yeah, it just feels like before we know it, we're going to be seeing like Trent Alexander-Arnold everywhere. Or just Trent, sorry. We'll just be seeing Trent everywhere. Like Beyonce, Zendaya. He's one name now. Trent. But yeah, I just want to put that comparison out there just because before someone else says it, I want to be the first to say it on record. Major David Beckham vibes from this transfer. We'll see how this one goes for Trent. And what else there was the Club World Cup. Yeah, I just watched the Gold Cup instead. I mean, I may watch the Chelsea games if I can catch them. I have not been able to catch the first one that they played. I was at work. But if I can catch them, I'll watch them. If not, oh well. It doesn't really seem like people are too invested in it. I mean, cool trophy to win, I suppose. But yeah, everything about it feels off and corporate. And just watch the Gold Cup. That's how I feel about that. Moving into the proper Maple start that you've become more accustomed to. Last week, in between episodes, Ottawa beat York 2-1 in Leg 1 of the Canadian Championship. So Ottawa has the advantage going into Leg 2. A bit more sad. You have probably already seen this, but I do need to cover it. Sam Adekubi, I alluded to him being injured last episode, went off injured in the Canadian Shield. He did his Achilles season ender. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses next year's World Cup, just because even if he does come back before the World Cup, there won't be much time for him to get back to full Sam Adekubi, and it's a shame because he's given so much for the shirt. I hope that that's not the last time we see him in a Canadian jersey, but it might be. It just might be it. I think this is going to be a real difficult one to come back from, especially with, I know it's going to be ridiculous, the World Cup starts in a year, but in such a short time frame to come back, to get healthy enough, to be playing well enough, to get into a squad that feels pretty strong, stronger than it's ever been. It is a shame, and it sucks that happened in a Canadian Shield. I do still maintain the fact he should not have been on the pitch at that time. His minutes should have been being managed. Obviously, nobody could have expected an Achilles tear, of course, but he's been struggling with injuries for last year and a bit. Just came back from one as well, and you play him he played 83 minutes, I believe. So you played him for 83 minutes, probably, I would assume at that point, going to be playing the 90. Come on, we need to do better. I think there's a bigger conversation that won't be had today. I want to talk positively about our men's national team, but I think there needs to be a conversation a little bit about injury protocol in the Canadian team at the moment. But we'll save that for a different day. And obviously, these people get paid more than me, far more than me, to know medical information that I could only dream of knowing. So just because I have a microphone doesn't mean I know better than these people. Also, remember that. Kyle Hebert was back into the St. Louis SC11 as they drew 3-3 with the LA Galaxy in kind of an instant classic. The Whitecaps lost to the Columbus Crew 3-1. Shame, but Montreal won against Houston with Gaboglo getting his first goal. Crazy. Oh, sorry, not goal, assist. Just crazy. Montreal winning this season is wild. Marshall Reddy picked up his third assist with Charlotte at the weekend. Stefan Eustáquio, as has been well documented, may not be with Canada for a bit of the Gold Cup as he is at that Club World Cup, which is splendid. Who needs a summer break, right? Cavalry into the CPL now. Drew 1-1 with Halifax. Pacific fell 3-1 to York after they got the lead. So another thing that ends up biting Pacific in the behind a little bit. They can't see out games. Forge win 2-0. Honestly, could have been more over Vancouver FC. And Forge are now the first team to ever go 10 undefeated to start the CPL season. Big up Forge. And yeah, I think it could have been more. Ben Payton, Maple Footy boy. He was putting in some very good crosses on the day that really should have been attacked. And yeah, he wasn't the only one. That's just the first one that comes to the top of my head. But yeah, there was a lot of chances that were missed. And I think that's something that Forge really needs to sharpen up on. And I say that out of love. Pacific's head coach, James Merriman, was assisting in Canada training this past in between the Canadian Shield and the Gold Cup kickoff, so that's pretty cool. Jesse Marsh had said it's important, to get these bonds going and to help build the game in Canada, so I think that is great. I know he did that with Eustáquio, not Stefan Eustáquio, Marco Eustáquio, last year during the Copa America, I believe it was, or maybe one of the friendlies. But I know he did it with him as well, and he is now the head coach of York United, so that is really cool that Jesse Marsh is doing that. I say keep doing that. Saliba to Anderlecht apparently looks like it's almost a done deal. That's exciting. I'm very excited for that. I think that could be a great move for him, and we'll talk a lot more about Saliba later, so we'll wait a little bit. Jade Rose has signed with Manchester City women's side, and I found this out as well, is a Harvard grad. So not only is she a great soccer player, she is also super smart. That's pretty cool. And finally, before we get into the Honduras game, Promise David has re-signed in Belgium until 2029, and I actually think this is really good. I think this is a good, smart move. This is a World Cup year. So he's not going to have to go to, let's say he went to France. He's not going to have to go to France, learn a new system, new tactics, acclimatize to a new country all over again, new teammates, all that fun stuff. During a World Cup year, knowing expectations will be high on him for both Canada and for that new club, I do think it's actually a smart move. He's kind of tabled leaving for a year, because if he does what he did this past season, say he gets another 24 goals, the teams are still going to be there who are going to want him. So I actually think it's really smart by him. That's a really good, I actually like that, I mean, obviously we would have loved to have seen Promise David go to like some big club or something, but playing in Belgium, not bad. Still working on his game, not bad. Being in and around the same players, coach, tactics, everything, not bad. I think it's a very good idea. So what do you say? Let's get into Honduras and Canada. 6-0. So as you know, also, side note, I don't know if you can hear it, but rain is just pouring outside right now. Anyways, as you know, as we do with the Canadian recaps, we go pros, cons, player by player, and I give my thoughts throughout the game, or any thoughts about the game throughout. Brain fart. So yeah, pros, a lot of them, honestly. Our biggest Gold Cup win to start the campaign ever, and our biggest win against Honduras, the evil Honduras, who ate-1'd us all those years ago to deny us going to the World Cup. We got our revenge, which is very nice. We are the only team in our group to have grabbed a win. I think that is pretty big too. Of course, I fully expect us to get out of this group, but still, you still need to start off strong and go on strong. So I think that's absolutely massive. Being the only one to have 3 points at the end of match day 1 is pretty good. In my, usually 2 wins all but guarantees you through in these knockout stages, in these group stages, into the knockout stages. So if we get another win, I think we're absolutely cruising to the knockout stages. And honestly, if we play like how we did against Honduras, I don't see it being much of an issue, all due respect to the other teams in the group. But yeah, we just looked really, really good. This was also our biggest win under Jesse Marsh. We have never gotten that many goals under Jesse Marsh, and we have never beaten by someone of a deficit of 6 goals before under Jesse Marsh. So just another positive thing coming out of that. I think it was also good to see a lot of different changes. This was not the lineup I expected. Obviously, there were some players, like I felt like Jonathan David, Dane St. Clair, Nico Seeger were all going to start. Nico Seeger as well, by the way. Good to see him start. I want him to be lumped in with the good to see start, not just because I expect him to start. But Nico Seeger, Nathan Saliba, Mathieu Chouanier, Luc de Fougerolles, who else started? Danny Oluwaseyi. Sorry, this is just off the top of my head. All those guys, and I'm sure I probably forgot 1 or 2, but all those guys, I think it's great to see them get starts, get minutes, and perform well. It's one thing to start and get the minutes in the tank, but it's another thing to go out and perform and get the result, and they did just that. Our midfield as well. I will harp on about our midfield throughout this recap, but real quick, our midfield absolutely bossed it on the night. They were so good, but we'll table that. Jonathan David, once again, another one that we'll probably expand on a little bit more. I thought he linked up play phenomenally. One of the best players in the world. Call it Canadian bias, call it whatever you want. I speak two languages, English and facts. That was terrible. Yeah, that was awful. We'll move on. Sam Adekubi and Alphonso Davies, two of our major players that are out injured right now, were both at the game. And I think that shows the type of union and respect that these players have for each other, for the jersey, for the badge. And I think that is massive to have them both there, as some countries can't even get their players to come out to be on the team and they're fully healthy. Yes, I'm looking at the United States on that one. Christian Pulisic specifically. But yeah, it's just very nice to see the support, and that's what a captain should do. If he's injured and he can, and he's allowed by his parent club, I think they should be there in supporting, because you're the captain. You should be there. And it's good to see Alphonso Davies there and Sam Adekubi as well, although it does break my heart that neither of them are able to play. Another thing on the Adekubi thing, it was nice to see Seager and Tani Oluwaseyi hold up his jersey as a sign of, hey man, we're still with you kind of thing. I thought that was very nice. A nice little touch after their goals. And I had two others. This is a proper way to start a tournament. 6-0. That is a gauntlet. What's it saying? Gauntlet thrown? Gauntlet thrown. I think that's what I'm going with, at least. If that's not the saying, I apologize. But yeah, that was definitely the gauntlet thrown by Canada. No other team won by this much. No other team won this emphatically. And I do know what you're saying, Sam. It's only Honduras. And I do understand that, right? Like Honduras, they're not as good as they used to be. But this was also just a good performance from Canada. And I don't think anybody would have expected us to have beaten them. We were definitely the favorites for sure, but I don't think anybody would have expected us to beat them by 6 and so convincingly. And it could have been more. So, yeah, that's a good way to start the tournament. Of course, I'm not going, yep, name's already on the trophy now, boys. Obviously, no, still a long tournament to go and anything can happen. But just from the first game of everybody, I think that is the best possible way to start the tournament. Finally, kind of piggybacking off that, we got to build on this. Honduras, for me, is the hardest in the group, and we looked very good against them. So we'll see what we can do against our next two. But yeah. That was very good. Good job, Canada. Cons, I don't have many. This was a very good night. Almost none. I will say we were a bit wasteful in the first half, as I've been harping on about. David, Tani, and Joe Waterman all should have had goals in that first half. In the end, it doesn't matter. But this is something I've been harping on about for literally the entire time I've been doing this podcast. We need to punish teams, and we definitely did in that second half. Like, we 100% did. But my point here is, you're not always going to end up scoring 6. Sometimes it's going to be 0-0, and that one chance is going to come, and you're going to have to convert. So that is something that has bitten us. That is something that could still bite us in this tournament. Of course, it just didn't end up biting us today. Another con, of course, Jesse Marsch was suspended. And that is a con to me, because it's tough to go out there without your coach. But Biello, the legend that he is, I thought did a fine job. And I know Jesse Marsch is probably giving him ideas and instructions on what to do. But still, Biello was the face that was out there. So good on Biello. And Jesse Marsch is back for our third game. And then however far we go after that, he will be on the sideline. So there you go. Moving into our player by player, because that's how we do it. Player by player. We move defense to attack, and everything in between. Brackets, the midfielders are in between that. So starting out, Dane St. Clair got the start and goal, and he had the best seat in the house, honestly. He had to make about 2 saves, one of which where he ran out to stop the ball, put the Honduran off, And then eventually the ball goes out for a corner, which brings me to his second save. Actually, genuine. This one was a very nice save. Point blank makes a save. I don't know which player got it on the Honduras team, but essentially brings it down in around the penalty area, absolutely thumps it. And Dane St. Clair gets down quick, gets down fast, strong hand behind it, pushes it out. And outside of that, yeah, he had the best seat in the house, didn't really have to do much, very pedestrian. It's another clean sheet for him in the Canadian colors. And yeah, like I said last episode, if you just watch stats, you're, oh my gosh, that's a lot of clean sheets. A lot of the clean sheets that he does have are against teams that really did not challenge us all that much in our final third. But he did contribute here, and he made a couple very nice saves. So Dane St. Clair, good on ya. Where do we start now? We'll go left to right. So starting at the left back with Richie Laryea, I thought he had quite a good outing. It's important to remember as well that he hasn't really played much this season, so that makes it a little bit more impressive that he was as good as he was. He didn't have a whole ton to do defensively, admittedly, like all of our defenders, but he contributed well in the attack, especially in our Taney goal. His run really spread the Honduras defense and made it so Taney was left relatively unmarked. Now, it was still a very tough finish from Taney. It was a great finish from him, so take nothing away from that. But I'm using this as a point for Laryea being great in the attack on the day, made a ton of overlapping runs, was a constant outlet for our midfield, our attack. And of course, he has typical Richie Laryea moments where he was basically contesting everyone and everything, including the ref at one point, which I thought was very funny. Never change Richie. I absolutely love the way you play. Moving over to the right, his fullback partner on the day, Nico Seeger. And I have a feeling there's going to be a day where we thank our lucky stars that he chose Canada over Croatia. Remember, Croatia wanted him and saw him in their future, and he chose us. He chose Canada. He wanted to play for Canada, born in Canada. And yeah, that we're definitely going to be thanking we're thanking everything in the coming future. I know we're probably already thanking him that he chose us over Croatia, but I mean, there's gonna be like a moment where it's like, okay, yes, like thank you for choosing us, because we can all see the potential, we can all see his technical ability, where it's like, yes, he chose us. But I'm talking about there's gonna be that moment. Talking about moments, he had a lot of fine moments on the day. He was great. He just was probably our busiest defender, in all fairness. There was about 2 instances where he really had to prove his defensive capabilities, and he did so. They were both at important moments of the match too. One, while we were still at 0-0, he evaded some pressure in his own box and dribbled out past the Honduras attack and passed the ball out. Played it well, played it nicely. Then the second, he was the only man back and showed some great recovery pace and nipped the ball. So not bad either, showing that even a midfielder can do a job at right back, evidently. And then, of course, the big moment for him, grabs his first international goal, which was absolutely massive. And it was a great play between him and Jonathan David. And when David passed the ball to Seeger, I think he also passed his finishing capabilities to him, because Seeger finished that like you would expect your star striker to. It was so composed, and you go, all right, I didn't know you had that in your locker. So yeah, shout out Seeger on that one. And this was also made extra special because being from Vancouver, well, in and around the Vancouver area, I should say, he had a lot of friends and family there to support him. And he said this after the game: I've been away a long time. It's not always easy being away from family and friends. I don't often get to play in front of them in Croatia. This night was different, and it means the world to me. End quote. I'm very interested to see him play in the midfield for us one day. Even though he has been very good at right back, I would still like to see what he can do in the middle of the park for us. And it'll be interesting to see if perhaps that transfer to Anderlecht does materialize. That was rumored a few weeks ago. Or maybe he stays in Croatia, or maybe he goes somewhere else. But either way, I think it's going to be a very exciting summer for our central midfielder turned right back. Moving to our center backs in what was a pretty easy evening for them both, Luke DeFugeral grabbed the start and didn't have much to do. He looked good on the ball and didn't need to make too many defensive plays or anything. He looked tired in around the 60th minute, which is why he came off in around that time. And I would chalk that up to he hasn't really played this season. He's not used to it just yet. He's been injured. So chalk that up to that. I wouldn't chalk that up to like poor stamina or fitness or nothing like that. Just I think he was tired. He hasn't played a ton. Joe Waterman partnered him on the day. And I could probably copy and paste exactly what I said for Joe Waterman for Luke DeFugeral, except he just didn't get tired. He stayed on for the 90 minutes. I thought it was good on the ball, helped us play out from the back. And the only thing I would say, he should have been leaving this field with a goal. Within the first minute, he had a golden opportunity, but doesn't finish on the day, as I referred to earlier. It didn't matter. We win 6-0 anyways. But yeah, just one of those things that can bite you on another day. But yeah, overall, defense looked good for what they had to do. But they didn't have to do a whole ton of defending. They did more attacking and build-up play than anything else. Moving into our midfield, and yes, I have been a critic of our 4-4-2 and saying our midfield will look overrun at numerous points in games, and sometimes our wingers will just look isolated and lack real creativity. This wasn't the case. This wasn't the case this time, and I'm happy to report that. Our midfield looked great, I thought, genuinely. And you can say, oh, Sam, but the opposition. One, I'm one of those people that goes, well, you can only beat what's in front of you. And two, I still expected this to be a bit closer of a game than it was. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I was still very impressed by our midfield. I thought they looked phenomenal. So we'll do what we did with the defense. And we'll start from left to right. So starting on the left, Ali Ahmed. I thought he was very lively, a very lively spark. And so much fun to watch. Just so direct when he got on the ball. And anytime he got on the ball, it felt like something was going to happen or something could happen. He was just so, as I said, direct, drove at defenders. He looked great coming off that left flank, cutting onto his right, and whipping in a ball into the box, trying to find his defender, Richie Larea, usually on the overlap, or trying to help link up the play from defense to our strikers. Ahmed also leaves the pitch with an assist, assisting the Promise David goal. On another day, he could have potentially grabbed a goal as well. He didn't miss a sitter or nothing like that. It was a half-decent chance towards the end of the game when the game was already dead and buried. But overall, I was very much impressed by Ali Ahmed, who I didn't think looked phenomenal in the game he played in the Canadian Shield. So yeah, this was welcome to see. This was the Ali Ahmed I want to see all the time. And this is the Ali Ahmed I think we can expect to see most of the time under Jesse Marsch. I think he knows how to get the best out of Ali Ahmed. I think, not that I think Ali Ahmed is bad with the Whitecaps or even poor. I think he's good with the Whitecaps. But with Canada, he just looks different. He looks more exciting and more willing for something to happen. And yeah, he's just a little bit of a different player, I find, with Canada than the Whitecaps. And that's me saying that I think he's been very good with the Whitecaps. But yeah, just looks that, I guess, a little bit better, I suppose you could say. So we'll move over to his wing buddy, Tajon Buchanan. And man, when this guy's in full flow, he's just so good to watch and so important for us. There's a reason I have a Tajon jersey. I absolutely love this guy. I'm so happy to see him getting back into this form. Like, this is the form we saw when he was breaking out onto the scene in the Gold Cup 2021 and at the World Cup of 2022. I told anybody who would listen he was going straight to the top. Direct quote, by the way. He's, of course, had a rough year and a bit, but we are seeing the best of him again. Ended this season strongly and has carried that form into the Canadian Shield and then into the Gold Cup and then some. He grabs his first ever brace for the Canadian men's national team. And I thought, even without those 2 goals, he had a great game. On the ball, he looked very good. Just like a proper wing play that you'd want to see. Happy with the ball at his feet, not afraid to take his man on, create chances, and make dangerous runs. That's exactly what you want him doing, and that's exactly why he's proving to be a handful for this Honduras defense, and I think will prove to be a handful for many defenses in this tournament. His first goal comes from him just hanging around the back post. A nice little back heel from Tanny to find Tajon, who opens opens his scoring for the day and opens his account for the Gold Cup, and he scores it emphatically. Wasn't the easiest open net finish, but definitely you'd bet your house on the fact that he was going to score it, And then the second goal kind of comes from just junk ball. The ball's just kind of bobbling around a bit in the box, and he's the one that converts it quickest. So just those willing instincts to be lively and up for it and just ready and so alert, I think that's a very good sign for Tajon in this tournament. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to put it out there. If we have a successful tournament, I think a good amount of it could be because of not because of Tajon, but could be influenced by Tajon, I think is the word I'm looking for. If he is in full flow, if he is in this form, I don't see a better winger in this competition than him. I really don't. And once again, you can say that's bias, you can say that's this, you can say that's that. But if he carries this form throughout the entire competition, I just don't see someone else that's on his level in the wing spots, at least. The wing positions. He just is, to me, he's that good. He really is. So we need him playing like this consistently and all the time, both for club and country. And yeah, it was just such a joy to watch. I'm so glad that we're getting our Tage back, and that little backflip he does after his goals. I love it. I wish I could do that. But we'll move into the center of the park, and between the two of them, honestly, if you ask me, either one of them deserve the man of the match. We'll start with Mathieu Choinière, and before I properly start, I remember a few months ago I had said he should be on our set pieces, and he was on our set pieces on this night, and he showed why again, because anytime he was standing over a dead ball situation, it felt like we could score, and he was probably robbed of a couple assists on the night just based off of that alone. But he was creating so many chances both in those set piece situations and then just during the flow of the game and controlling the tempo of the game. Just everything was going through him and Saliba on the day. Choinière was helping link defense to attack, winning the ball back for us, and just looking like a proper central midfielder. He was just so good on the day, and I can't give him enough praise. He was a joy to watch. He looked so comfortable carrying the ball. He looked so comfortable, with a quick one-touch pass. He looked so comfortable winning the ball back, doing the pressing, applying pressure. It was a proper midfield performance from him. Now we'll look at his partner on the day, and I will say it is crazy to think that just a year ago both these guys were on the books of CF Montreal, and they would be playing relatively frequently together at club level. Because, oh my goodness, the best Saliba in world football lived up to the name on the day. He was absolutely everywhere, making and forcing big turnovers, winning possession back, starting so many of our attacks on the day. He was playing some great balls and behind the defense, some through balls, switching the play. He was just a beast. I also really liked how he was comfortable with the ball at his feet, and this may come as a strange blend of players I'm about to list, but he reminds me of if you meshed Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Samuel Piette. He's got the defensive capabilities and visions of Piette, but the explosiveness and the technical ability of a Loftus-Cheek. He topped off his man-of-the-match worthy performance with a stellar goal. He pounces on a giveaway from the Honduras defense and gets in and around the 18-yard box, and from the moment it left his foot, you knew it was in. That's his first international goal as well. Absolutely massive. It was a great performance from both of these guys, and I think the highest praise I can give them is we didn't miss the, I don't want to say veteran, but I guess the veterans like your Stefan Estaquios, Ishmael Kone, and Jonathan Osorio. We didn't miss them. If anything, this is the best our midfield has looked under Jesse Marsch. And once again, I know, would you maybe feel this against a France or an Argentina or what have you? Maybe you would. I mean, hey, if they're going to play like this, why not give it a shot? But my point is, people will say, well, look at the competition, right? Look at, you're playing a Honduras. Could Estaquio and Kone, Estaquio, Oso Kone, whatever other blend of central midfielders you can pick up, maybe we're better, maybe we're worse, I don't know. But we looked so good with these two in the middle of the park. We didn't look overrun. And once again, I know, It's Honduras, 70th, 75th ranked, something like that in the world. I do get it. We should win this game, and we did win this game. But still, these two, I was so impressed by both of them. Genuinely. So good. I hope that Anderlecht move happens for Saliba, and I hope that Mathieu Chouanier can start playing and starting frequently for Grasshoppers. He is more than good enough to be starting for them and even maybe starting for other clubs in Europe as well. Both of them just top players on the day and loads of potential between the two of them. I hope this isn't the last time we see them paired together, at least in this tournament. So yeah, very excited by these two in the middle of the park. I thought they were phenomenal. Looking at our pair of strikers, Tanny was the man to partner our captain, Jonathan David. And to his credit, I thought Tanny ran the Honduras defense ragged. Maybe could have left the pitch with another goal, but also he was straight up punched in the face. So, I won't fault him on that one too much. He made some great runs in behind the defense, and they just didn't know how to handle him. His runs also made it so David, Ahmed, Larea could all find more joy up the pitch. He grabbed the second goal of the day for Canada, and it was a proper finish. Like, that was a great finish. Maybe the best of the bunch. Maybe we got 6 to choose from. So you could say that the 47th minute was in fact Tanny time, if you will. And I will say, Tanny might be our Darwin Nunez. I've seen this guy miss some sitters that he should probably score, but then grabs an absolute banger like this that he has no right to score, because no one has any right to score that kind of goal, and he does. I said this during his last cap and the last recap I did. He was cut from the same cloth as strikers like Darwin and Timo Werner, where they have great movement, great link-up play, and that was all on display today. And I think mix that with the banger that he scored and the missed chances he's had in the past, it only enhances my point that I'm making. Like, he just is our Darwin or our Timo. He's going to try his heart out. He's going to run his socks off. He's going to get himself in a great position. He's going to get a good few chances. Going to help his teammates link up to play. But he might miss a good few chances. But then he's going to go and score that, So just very, very, very funny to me, I suppose. But we'll move to his strike partner on the day. Once again, our captain of the day, Jonathan David, and I believe will be captaining us throughout the tournament unless Stefan Eustáquio comes back in time. And while he didn't score, he did pick up an assist, and his fingerprints were all over our attack on the day while he was on. His link-up play, dropping back and collecting the ball, passing the ball to the right guy at the right time in the right place, finding space, finding pockets to operate in. He really is a great mix of a number 9 and a number 10. Another player that Jesse Marsch just knows how to use and knows how to get the best out of. He looks unreal when he's wearing that Canada shirt. And like I said, a striker that didn't score on the day, but he's still up there and one of our top performers on the day. He was so good. Just such a joy to watch him under Jesse Marsch and in the form of his life right now. Now, I will knock on wood. Please stay healthy. And I'm very excited to see where he's going to sign. Hopefully that is announced soon. It feels like it should have been announced by now, but evidently I guess he hasn't signed a contract just yet. But yeah, either way, I thought it was great. We'll move looking at the subs now. We made a hat trick of subs in this 63rd. Firstly, Zorian Bassong grabbed himself another cap, coming in to replace Richie Larea. He picked up basically exactly where Larea left off, offered a little something in the attack, and didn't have a ton to do defensively. He's another player who may have a big summer ahead of him, but for a little bit of a different reason than the other guys. I think he's someone that is on the periphery of the squad. And this could be a chance for him to really showcase himself for Jesse Marsch ahead of the World Cup. If he impresses here, when he's given a chance, of course, you never know what the future for the international team for him could hold. So I think this could be a very big summer for Zorian Bassong. Coming on at the same time was Kyle Larin. He replaced Jonathan David at the same time. And yeah, he replaced him in both position and captaincy. He didn't have a ton of service and didn't Didn't really get many chances, made some good runs, had like a half chance here or there. But there was a point in the game, I will say, in highlight, in like the 90th minute when we were 6-0 up and Kyle Larin was racing back to ensure Honduras didn't get one and that we keep a clean sheet. It's those little things that make me go, yeah, there's still a spot in this team for Kyle Larin, and this is why I'll keep defending him. Yes, I know we have exciting strikers, and yes, I know Kyle Larin hasn't been the Kyle Larin of old, but I do still think there is a spot in this team for him if Jesse Marsch wants to keep calling him, which he seems to want to do. And finally, Kamal Miller came in for Luc Defoe's role to cap off the hat trick of subs, and I was happy because I love Kamal Miller to bits. He didn't, once again, have a ton defensively to do, but he looked good on the ball, spraying some passes from the back, and just fitting in like a glove. And man, I just love Kamal Miller. That's my center back. That's my number 4. In the 71st, Promise David came in for Tani Oloshehi, and literally 3 minutes later, he grabbed his second goal in a Canadian shirt on his second cap. So currently at a 100% goal rate when he's playing for Canada, I suppose. But yeah, that goal, that first touch that he makes to take the ball away from the defender and settle himself, and then the little dink over the goalkeeper, doesn't overthink it, doesn't hesitate, doesn't blast it, doesn't lose composure, just so composed, knows exactly what he's doing. That's a striker's goal. That's a striker right there. He just has it, those things you can't teach. Like you either know to do that just instinctually, or you just don't. And it's okay. I'm not saying that strikers that don't have those instincts are bad. You've seen a lot of strikers with not those instincts, do extremely well. And you've seen strikers with these instincts not do well. But that is one of those goals that goes, that's a striker in top form who is showing exactly what he can do. And yeah, we'll see who starts. I do think that Jesse Marsch will probably lean to Tani Oloshehi again because he had a good outing. But yeah, that striker position is extremely stacked for us at the moment. Just the guys that are there. And then you think about the guys that didn't come. Yeah, we have some good striker depth at the moment. In the 80th minute, Jacob Schaffelberg came in for Tajon Buchanan, and let's be real, he didn't have much to do, only about 10 minutes. It was good for him to clock some minutes, though. He did help run down the Honduras defense just a little bit more, and that's all I have to say about Schaffelberg. Once it just didn't have much to do on the day, only 10 minutes, and the game was 5-0 when he came on and 6-0 when he left, so there you go. But I will say, this does wrap up this episode. Canada's absolutely massive win is a great start to the Gold Cup. I think we could really see more confidence instilled into this group in this group stage. Not to sound overconfident, but I do really think and see us making out this group stage without much issue. So it'll be a good time to get our guys to build their confidence, build their chemistry, build some momentum, and keep the group in full flow until the knockout stages. Once again, under the impression we go through the group with relative ease. I will put this out there. I don't think it's going to be as big of a struggle for us to get out of this group as it was in the Copa America group, but we shall see. Footy can be unpredictable, as you may well know. I will, of course, continue covering our Gold Cup, so hopefully as far as we can possibly go all the way to the final so I can keep talking about these boys. I absolutely love this team. I love these players. And yeah, it's the best. I love watching them. I just do. And yeah, other than that, follow me at Maple Footy Pod for more updates, or Sam Little 44, whichever one you want. And let's go get another dub. So wishing the boys the best of luck. I will, of course, cover that game. And that is on Saturday, I believe. So yeah, watch that if you can. If not, listen to the podcast recap of mine, at least. But yes, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, cheers, everyone.
And that was your Maple Footy podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates. Remember to support Canadian football, be kind, and until next time, live, laugh, little.